because I'm so outspoken with what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, I guess it's turned me into nothing but a target. In other words, what a better person to agitate or to aggravate than to go down here and aggravate Juby, which is sad. I don't know what to do about it. Like I said, I've went to Tommy Moore several different times. They've wound up costing me a felony over here, pertaining to basically a whore that was married to a crackhead. And David and I seen that the children was being exposed to an environment that they shouldn't have been exposed to. And because we was doing the Good Samaritan thing, I get caught up in it. They twist it around, and the next thing you know, they charge me for stalking. I'm in jail for 37 days. I can't make bond because the building hasn't been built yet fully. So I had to plead guilty to a charge that I never should have had to plead guilty to because of a bunch of crackheads, a bunch of dope smokers.
What's the building got to do with it?
The building had something to do with the bond because I didn't have the cash on me at the time to make the bond. But if the building would have been fully built, I could have put that down as a property bond. That way I could have fought my case without having to be stuck in jail for 37 days.
Who represented you on that public record?
No, actually, I got a attorney out of Union City that was about as worthless as hiring that cat.
Yeah.
He didn't let me know when my arraignment was. So then the judge comes at me, even though I was the victim, even though I was the one that filed the charges. The judge puts out a warrant for my arrest because I didn't make the arraignment. So now I'm in between the hard place and a rock, catch 22. And the whole time being victimized by a bunch of idiots out here that don't have no decency about their names. It's sad. It's sad, and it's almost like the judge, the judicial system in this county is wanting blood on the table or blood on the floor. They're wanting somebody to either harm and hurt me or me go off on them and harm and hurt them. And that's the reason why I keep contacting y'all, because y'all are supposed to be law enforcement, but I can't get nothing done other than making a record of it. You know, having a paper trail.
What is that line? Is that a house, I guess, there?
Yeah, that's a house.
I mean, the four-wheeler, and the sad thing is riding by, you know, I'm sure the other deputies told you it's public road. We can't stop nobody from riding up and down the road.
But whenever you come out here stopping and cussing
and all, I mean, that's a little different.
We'll come out here right here. Whenever they come by here, they throw a beer can out right here, and that white cup right there, they throwed it out too. And if it was something serious, we could always get their fingerprints off of the, but I mean, we're talking about petty stuff, you know? Petty stuff, other than litter. Of course, you're out here in the country, but they drove right around that road right there, went up that hill, down that highway, went right up there where they all live. It's a group of them, gang. They're going to deny that they're inside. What you say, even though you've seen it on video. And I'm sure they're cranky. So they, get ready for that. But you can always get them up to PD. They're outside. Yeah. But this intolerable situation is going to keep on. Somebody is going to be seriously injured or hurt or maybe even dead. Just like the individual that decided to find knocking on people's door and decided to shoot somebody over a heart. Crazy stuff going on now all over the world.
That was a drug event there. That was all over drugs. They went in and robbed a guy that had drugs.
Just kind of some sort of drug.
No, he had drugs. They went in and robbed him to get his drugs and guns and money. That's strictly on drugs. Every shooting that's happened in Martin has been over drug related. Some sort of everything drug related.
Well, they're upset at me because I upset the apple cart by me coming out here. I'm moving back here. This property has been in our name since 1937. I was raised up as a young kid here. As I got older, I got on my own, lived 5 years here, lived 10 years there, lived over here. And I come back at the age of 59 to live out my golden years. Apparently, I'm not going to have no golden years. And that's what they want. That's what they want. They want to bring intolerable terrorism type tactics into my life. They keep my blood pressure up all the time. Don't know whenever I go to sleep if somebody's going to come knocking on my door at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, just bam, 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 and then leave, cut out and leave. You know, they vandalize the property here several different times. I mean, it's relentless. It goes on and on and on.
I wish I could take a solution.
And I'm not moving. I'm going to be like my brother. The only way I'm leaving this property is going to be in a black body bag. Now, if they got the balls to come out here and actually put me down, good riddance. Because at this point in time, I actually rather than do that than what they're doing now. Of course, agitating and agitating and agitating. It's almost like festering to a soul. It's like, you know, you just keep peeling the scab, peeling the scab, peeling the scab. They're cowards. They're cowards, and they don't have nothing to do with their lives other than to come by here and torment mine.
I'm going to ride and see if I see anybody down here and then circle back, go around.
I'm so sorry that I never called the police.
Understand?
And I know y'all get tired of the telephone complaints.
Just another day for us.
Well, I realize that. I'm just a statistic as far as filling out paperwork. Well, there was another incident at 291 Thompson Road. I realize that. But if it's that old with me, that's been going on since I moved back here since 2014, it's bound to be getting old. With Mike Wilson and Tommy Thomas and Tommy Moore and the rest of the judicial system. It's bound to be getting old with them. Because I degrade them because they didn't. If they'd have done their jobs properly the first time with the Ridgeway situation before I ever come back here in 2014 and made an example out of them before I ever come back here with David, because David got taken down on his own property with his own gun. If it would have been handled properly, this would have never happened. I am so fed up with this. And there's nothing that I know to do because my hands is tied. They're going to put a felony on me towards trying to be the good Samaritan, to do the right thing. Taking care of children, 3 little children.
Who was over there with the children? Daniel's woman or something?
Steve Lester's daughter, Kimberly Lester or something like that. She'd never been married to the boy. And whenever you see the door get knocked off the hinges, whenever you see the boy get up on top of the car and act like an ape, jumping up and down, take a $1,000 phone and throw it against her head, whenever you see the ambulance stop and pick her up, take her up to the hospital, and of course whenever they ask, well, what happened? What happened? Oh, I fell. No, you didn't fall. He got too aggressive with her and done cracked one of them ribs. One of them love, hate, in, out. I hate you, I love you situations. I had no earthly idea what I was going to be walking off into whenever I come here at 291 Thompson Road. And the only reason why they're doing it is because they can continue to do it and get away with it. Like I said, if something happens pertaining to the death of me or the death of them, this judicial court system up here in Weakley County will have to give an account for, because I got my son that's keeping a watch on this. I've got my niece out in California. I've got other people over in Kenton, Tennessee that's watching this. There's eyes and ears looking at all this, especially with me putting out as much material as I'm putting out. So I don't know how y'all going to handle it. I know I'm not going to move.
I understand. I'll go look for them.
Thank you. And I hate to bring this up with it being Christmas Day.
We've been to several other calls, so don't worry about that.
That's my watering system.
Shoot that?
No,
Oh, I just thought somebody might have shot. No, that's the screws I got.
that's my watering system.
All right.
Thank you, sir, for coming out. I'm so sorry for having to call you.
Have a good time.
You too. Here we are. Christmas Day. Cannot get no peace of mind on my own property at 291 Thompson Road, Sharon, Tennessee. Anti-Semitism. This has been going on now since I've stepped foot back on this property in 2014 and cannot get nothing towards the law enforcement to do nothing about it. But I guarantee you, if I would have been Tommy Moore's niece or somebody else associated directly with the family, if they had to, they'd have set up a surveillance camera out here, or if they had to, they'd have set up a deputy out here. They'd have had an actual deputy sitting out here at the corner. He's driving down there and seeing what kind of evidence is down there, I'm sure. What do you do? What do you do whenever a whole community is so dead set that they don't want peace? They don't want utopia. They have been against the windmill ministries now for 30 plus years. And they're still against it to this day because they like their fornication. They like their browsing around. They like their doping. They like their jumping from bedroom to bedroom. They like this type of ungodliness. And simply just because I come back, I'm supposed to be victimized again and again and again and again. I even took the officer over here inside my property, inside the building, and showed him just exactly what was going on with my security. I have nothing to hide. I've never had nothing to hide. My life has been nothing but an open book from the get-go. I have nothing to hide, and I have nothing to be ashamed of. But one thing I am ashamed of, I'm ashamed that I ever moved back to Northwest Tennessee knowing that I didn't have a judicial system that was going to allow for these type of intolerablenesses to continue on and on again and again and again. That's what I'm sorry about. I'm not sorry for coming back and getting reacquainted with my brother, give or take for about 3 years before he died. But I'm sorry about how that the general public has reacted and responded to all this, simply because of me out here flying Jewish flags. With it being Christmas, I felt like that it was appropriate for me to stick these up, put them in my vehicle. And I know good and well Dustin Hotto down there had to have heard it. There goes the cop again. He just went down there and come back. I know he had to have heard the ruckus. And he may actually stop down there and ask one of them if they heard any type of a ruckus. He's spotting his light down there looking around. But this has been relentless of going on and on and on, and they still haven't figured out yet that I'm not going to cross that threshold towards taking the law into my own hands, towards grabbing up a weapon and coming after them. Because I guarantee you, anybody else, if I was to have been a Mexican coyote living out here with my family, or if I would have been my father, James Robert Jackson, known as Bobby, or if I would have been even Danny, somebody would have already went to the morgue over this type of aggravation that continues again and again and again and again. Once more, the Weakley County Police Department had to use their time, had to use their officer, had to use their gas, had to wear out their automobile to drive from Dresden all the way down here to the armpit of the county, which is right at the edge of Obion County and Gibson County. All three of them kind of merge across the river over there. Simply because the judicial system laughed at my brother whenever the Ridgeway and the Sheffield family took my brother down on his own property and took his own gun and tried to end his life towards attempted murder. This is what I get. This is what I get for coming back here trying to do the right Samaritan, good Samaritan thing. This makes, I don't know how many calls that's been made in regard to disturbing the peace, terrorizing people's lives out here pertaining to anti-Semitism. This is the $64,000 question that I keep asking people like Tommy Moore, Mike Wilson, other corrupt politicians. What did they expect was going to happen whenever I first started my quest? Whenever I first stepped out into the eyes of the general public towards making myself known towards the Windmill Ministries and our message, did they just expect for me to roll over and die? Did the judicial system in this county just expect that I was just going to suddenly go away and never come back? That's what they was hoping. That's exactly what they was hoping. That's the reason why they kicked up so much sand whenever I first come back over a bunch of dogs. The old man, Donald Ridgeway. And now it's done sifted down to the grandson and the son-in-law. And of course the daughter and the wife to the individual is still all living right up the road here. And they must get drinking, smoked up, pilled up, whatever. And they get to talking about these issues. And of course, whenever they drink a little courage water, it just throws them over the edge to the point that they can't control themselves. They got to go down to 291 Thompson Road and agitate and torment my life to bring more terrorism into our lives, even though we stand for good. They have to come down here. They can't control themselves, just like an obsessed pedophile who can't control himself. And we have explained this again and again and again. And it goes in one death here and out another. I can't have no friends. People are scared to become acquainted with me because they're afraid that if they saddle up with me, the next thing you know, all this terrorism, and that's what it is. They're tormenting my life out here. The next thing you know, this type of infliction, and that's exactly what it is, it's an infliction. It's the same thing if you had cancer, or it's the same thing if you had tuberculosis, or the same thing if you had some other kind of disease that you couldn't get rid of. It's an affliction. I have an affliction by coming back to Weakley County and trying to do the right thing and can't get nobody to listen. You know why? Because the rest of the neighborhood and the rest of the nation is just as corrupt as they are. And they sit back and they snigger and they laugh and they all get their jollies off of it. They get entertained by it. Oh, we still got a freak show going on. Where's the two-headed calf and the bearded lady? Let's go down and pick on Juby. This is such of a disgrace to the church community and to the law enforcement community in this area. I can't even begin to emphasize on how disgraceful that all this has escalated into. A disgrace. Like I said, the broken cross, the broken system. The system's broke. When you have drug dealers that's taking care of drug lords and they don't want their career damaged towards controlling this drug substance that has now become their primary cash cow, this is what you run into. This type of adversity that they have created in the past 30 years simply because they did not want utopia. They did not want a revival. They did not want peace. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas on Christmas Day, the day that we set aside to celebrate the Christ child in his existence of his birth. Merry Christmas to the Windmill Ministries.